She had everything: wealth, comfort, a life she believed could shield her child from any hardship. But one night, a single glance shattered her world. There, on a cold street corner, she saw him, her own son, dressed in rags, begging strangers for scraps of food. How did the boy born into privilege end up like this? And what dark truths about race, power, and survival had led him here? This isn't just a family story. It's a story about a society that decides who is worthy and who is left to struggle. For most of her life, Evelyn believed she had secured Marcus's future. She was wealthy, living in a gated community where safety and comfort were constants. Her son attended top schools, traveled the world, and grew up insulated from struggle. To Evelyn, this was every mother's dream, a child untouched by the ugliness outside, but privilege cannot always protect. Beyond the gates, the city pulsed with a rhythm harsher than any money could soften, a world where Marcus's skin alone made him visible in ways Evelyn refused to see. She convinced herself that wealth and influence could shield him from prejudice. She was wrong. One evening, Marcus disappeared. No calls, no explanations. Days became weeks. Evelyn searched, following every lead, each one ending in silence. Her carefully curated world began to crack, and then she found him, not in a friend's home, not in a shelter, but on the streets, crouched on concrete, hand outstretched to strangers passing by. The fall had been slow. It began when Marcus left the safety of his private school and entered the broader world of college. For the first time, he was seen not as a student, not as a son of privilege, but only through the lens of his skin. It started small. Security guards are trailing him. Professors are questioning the originality of his work. Classmates whispering, doubting, judging. He tried to shrug it off, reminding himself that his mother's money and status could protect him. But prejudice ignores titles, stripping away layers until only stereotypes remain. One night, it escalated. Walking home from a late study session, Marcus was stopped by the police. No crime, no suspicion. Just a young black man in a wealthy neighborhood. They pressed him against the car, searched his bag, and demanded explanations that no white classmate would ever face. Money could not buy him freedom. The humiliation followed him everywhere. Jobs slipped through his fingers. Friends withdrew. Confidence crumbled. Even when he reached out for help, the systems designed to protect him treated him as the problem. Evelyn noticed the changes but called it a phase, blind to the way society had pushed her son to the margins. The final blow came with an internship. Marcus entered a prestigious firm with a polished resume, glowing references, and a hopeful expression on his face. However, the interviewer never took a glance at his achievements. Instead, he asked where Marcus really came from and whether he fit the image the company wanted. Days later, rejection arrived, a confirmation that doors would close before he even stepped through. Broken, Marcus vanished into the city's shadows. Stripped of opportunity, he survived on the streets, not due to lack of talent or ambition, but because society's systems had failed him. When Evelyn finally found him, crouched on that cold corner begging for scraps, her heart shattered, not just for Marcus, but for every child believed to be untouchable by money, shielded from injustice, yet vulnerable to prejudice. Evelyn's breath caught as she pushed through the crowd. Could this be him? Then she saw his face, hollowed by hunger, dulled by defeat. The boy who had once worn fine clothes and attended elite schools now knelt on concrete, reaching for the indifferent world. She wanted to run to him, to gather him in her arms, but whispers pierced deeper than any blade. Another beggar. Probably on drugs. No one recognized the truth, that this young man had been denied chances, stripped of opportunity because of the color of his skin. Marcus looked up and saw her. For a fleeting moment, shame, anger, and pain crossed his features. Then came the police. 2 officers approached, eyes cold, hands hovering over batons. Evelyn cried out, but the chaos drowned her voice. Wealth and privilege meant nothing here. To them, Marcus was not a son. He was a target. Evelyn finally reached him, helping him to his feet. He allowed himself to lean on her, to feel a mother's warmth amidst the harshness of a world that had stripped him bare. Together they left the corner, passed indifferent stares, and whispered judgments. Marcus's survival was not just a personal triumph. It was a reminder of the invisible walls society builds, walls that money and status cannot breach. In the days that followed, Evelyn confronted truths she had long ignored. Wealth could not shield her son. Influence could not erase bias lurking in schools, streets, and even the smiles of strangers. Marcus learned lessons the world should never have taught, that skin color can dictate opportunity, safety, and survival. Yet from the darkness came a spark. Evelyn began sharing their story, not in shame, but as a call to action. Marcus raised his voice as well, advocating for those who were silenced and overlooked. Their journey became a resistance, demanding that the world recognize humanity that was too often ignored. As they looked back on that corner, one question lingered. How many more children survive in silence, unseen and unheard because society refuses to see past skin and status? This story is not just theirs. It's a reflection of a larger truth. And it asks us all, will we remain bystanders, or will we finally confront the prejudice hiding in plain sight?